Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Detroit Sports Alliance presents the Offside Show. And coming with me today and being in the room with me today is Seth Walker. How you doing today, Seth?
Great. How about yourself?
Pretty good. And I also have PD Sports with me today. How you doing, bud?
Doing great. Can't wait to talk some Red Wings hockey. NHL even gets started back up today, so that's also exciting.
Yeah, we got some exciting topics. Detroit Drew, what's up, man? What's up? All right. So, we might as well get it going. The NFL games officially matter today. What's your level of excitement and what are your general thoughts? We'll start with UPD.
I'm super excited, man. It's been, there's obviously was the exhibition games going on, but man, games actually matter now. I think this Stanley Cup tournament is going to be as wide open as ever. I think we're going to see we might see a 10 seed, honestly, be making it further than we expect or something like that.
Yeah, with all this stuff going on, it's difficult to see what's going to happen. But to be honest with you, I'm really happy hockey's back. And normally I don't watch other teams too much. I kind of stick with my Wings and stuff because it is kind of a long season, and I love to watch my Red Wings. But the thing is I haven't watched hockey in so long. I'll probably check it out, and my level of excitement is pretty darn high right now. What do you think, Seth?
I hate to sound like the negative Nancy, but I'm probably the guy that would be like, this whole thing, this whole setup is blasphemy. The added teams. I'll probably tune in to watch a few games and maybe try to catch the Stanley Cup final, the last Stanley Cup final game, just to see Gary Bettman get booed.
Nah. That's funny. I don't like the setup either, and I don't like the way the lottery happened and all that stuff. And hockey's a lot like baseball in the fact that there's tradition, and there's something to be said for tradition and the way things have been. I don't mind trying to move forward and if it makes sense, but I don't think it makes sense in this environment. I don't think it makes sense to change all the stuff that they changed. It still screwed the Red Wings, so I guess it doesn't matter to me. What do you think, PD?
I'm just excited for hockey. Honestly, it's gonna be a wide open playoffs. I'm obviously sad that the Red Wings aren't playing. I'm not as sad as I would normally be because I know what we are right now, but still, I wish we could see the Red Wings play. But I think it's gonna be some of the best hockey that we've ever seen. I may be exaggerating maybe, but I think it's going to be some good hockey. We're going to see some interesting things happen. We're going to see some interesting things happen for sure. It's going to be fun. I don't know. I'm speechless, honestly. I can't wait to see what happens today and where this whole thing goes from here. And we'll see what kind of upsets happen. I'm sure there'll be some. I feel like there's going to be more than usual in this particular setup, but
it's kind of like you just don't know what's going to happen because there's so many variables and there's so many things that have happened with the COVID, with how in shape are the players right now? How in sync are they right now and all that stuff, because hockey really depends on that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go to our Red Wings and talk a little bit about one of our favorite sons came back to become the general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, and that's Stevie Yzerman. What are your thoughts on year one of Steve Yzerman's tenure as general manager of the Red Wings? PD, we'll start with you.
Man, I'm not going to lie. It's like tricky to age because it's 1 year, but I think I'm gonna give him, honestly, this might be a little harsh. I'm gonna give him a C+. Not necessarily because he did a bad job, or not necessarily because he did a great job. More just because it's year one. It's like there's only so much you can do in 1 year. But at the same time, he made a solid trade acquiring Fabry. I don't know what Jacob De La Rose is doing right now, so I can't say right now if they won that trade definitively, but Yzerman has a pretty solid track record of winning trades when he was with the Lightning. But I'm going to give him a solid C+ for now. I mean, drafting Sider, I think that's going to be a spectacular move. Like just watching A Wood 40's videos of how they post of all these Red Wing players. And dude, Sider is like a beast. And I didn't even realize how amazing he was until I watched the stuff that he did in Grand Rapids. Like,
yeah, Cider actually plays a lot like a rookie, that's for sure. He's a good passer. He's a really good defenseman. It has a little bit of offense to him too. He's a really smooth skater. He played in a men's league, which I think is a big advantage because of the fact that he's more ready for the NHL. And I think you're going to see him this year. I think Yzerman's he's already said he's going to give him a look, but I think he makes the team this year. I think that he makes the team and he plays some games. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to play the whole season because there is that looming Kraken expansion draft coming up. So I would say if he plays more than 40 games, we're going to have to protect him. So I don't know how much of a look he's going to get. If Yzerman thinks he's ready, fine, we'll have him up, and he's going to be protected next year. But I think that was a great move. I have full confidence in Steve Yzerman because not only I know he gives 100%. He was trained by Jim Nill, and he was trained by Kenny Holland. But then he went down to Tampa Bay and he did it himself. He went down there and turned the team around. And so he has a proven track record now too. Plus he comes back to this home. He comes back to not his home, but his home for so many years. His family is here. They like it here. And he wanted to come back, and now he's taking control of the Wings, who have been floundering for quite a while. And I think he's going to turn this team back around. What do you think about the first year of Steve Yzerman's tenure, Seth?
I really don't think it's fair to judge him that much because he inherited a big mess in terms of, a whole bunch of bad contracts, aging veterans with bad contracts. Nielsen's contract being an especially bad one, in my opinion. And so this past season was basically an observational year to him to get a good gauge of the pulse of the team so that he wouldn't really know what to do going forward. So, basically make some low-risk trades. The Perlini trade may not have worked out all that great, but the Fabry trade worked out fabulously. And of course, drafting a Sider, even though it kind of initially took me by surprise. I think it took most people by surprise because a lot of people didn't have him rated that high to go sixth. But as soon as I saw him being picked and saw the footage, because I was at Little Caesars Arena for the draft party, when I saw the footage of him playing, I instantly knew that Yzerman knew what he was doing in picking him in terms of having that great, effective two-way game as a defenseman. Again, not exactly like Lidstrom, but very favorable to him in terms of what he's able to do on the ice in terms of being a smart, intelligent player on both ends of the ice.
Hey, Seth, I know Seth is our resident historian here on the Red Wings, and he has gotten a new segment this week. We really haven't come up with a name with it. Maybe we'll let you guys vote on the name for this new segment, looking back into history. But Seth, I'm going to give the floor to you about the 2001, is it the off season? 2001 going into 2002. So take it away, Seth.
All right. Hopefully I won't be too long-winded. Well, once upon a time, back in 2001, the Red Wings had been upset in the first round by the Kings, and the Avalanche won the cup over the Devils, two teams that ESPN seemed to be completely in love with at that time. Everyone was praising them about that 7-game series, made me sick to my stomach. But I digress. So the offseason comes around, and the Red Wings decide that they're going to be serious about winning the cup. It had been a few years since they had won the cup, but, they didn't want to just sit back, especially now that Colorado had won another one. So they trade for Hasek, then they sign Robitaille, then they sign Hull. So overall, that was a monster offseason for the Red Wings where they made a major statement. And I just remember being a fan, just being blown away by the commitment the Red Wings were showing to winning the cup that year. They already had a solid core in place with Yzerman, Fedorov, Shanahan, Lidstrom, Chelios, Larionov, and so many others. So then for them to add Hasek, first of all, who was probably still the best goalie in the world, the dominator, 2 Hart trophies, a gold medal, for them to add Hasek and only give up Kozlov, that was huge. And that blew me away right then and there. I was like, oh my gosh, the Red Wings are for real. So then on top of that, I learned that the Wings are signing Luc Robitaille, who was one of my absolute favorite non-Red Wings from that period, one of the most prolific scorers of that period, a guy who in his first, I think, 8 or 9 years in the league, all with the Kings, never scored less than 44 goals in a season. So to get a guy with that track record in his career, to get him on the team, even though he was no longer scoring quite that many goals, but still could score 30-plus goals, to get him on the team because he wanted to win a cup. Then they go out and sign Brett Hull, who had a cup with the Stars, but wanted another one. Another one of my favorite non-Red Wings from that period up to that point. A great prolific scorer, big slap shot. So for the Wings to go out and get him too, and with players on the team being reportedly willing to defer parts of their own salary so Holland could go out and sign these guys, it was just huge. It just blew me away. Like I had to kind of pinch myself for a while, as if, because I didn't really, it was almost like I was dreaming. So for them to then go out and win the Stanley Cup, people may knock the Wings as buying a cup, but hey, you do what you have to do. If it works, it works.
I'm sure the Lions would love to buy a championship at this point.
Yeah. So basically, I guess my two-part question is, how did it make you all feel to see the Red Wings go all out to get a cup like that? And how did that impact the Red Wings that season, having virtually seemingly half the team made up of future Hall of Famers? How did it make you feel, and what impact did it have on them?
It made me feel great. I mean, to be honest, I looked at the Red Wings at that year like the New York Yankees in baseball. They could just go and get whoever they felt like, and they would come in. And you know what? I wanted that to be my team so bad. Like in football, we want us to be New England so bad that we went out and got New England people to come in here, So no, but I seriously, huh?
The wrong ones.
Maybe so. But we made, not only did we bring in the veterans and buy a bunch of people, whatever, but we brought in the right people, which I think is underrated and not talked about as much. But I felt great. I felt outstanding. I love the fact that we went all in. And what was the second part of your question?
What impact did that have on the Red Wings that season? You can call me Funk said they really had to look at what Colorado was doing, which he brought up a good point, because I think around that time frame they got Solani in Korea, or maybe it was right after, but they, of course, had a stacked team too.
Yeah.
And then you also have to remember the Wings also had a rookie, Pavel Datsyuk, joining them that season.
That's true. So, PD, what do you think?
It was crazy. It was insane how that all worked out. Like, I don't think we didn't bring these players in when they're like in their prime. We brought them in when they're like close to 40 years old. I think Robitaille was 35 and Hull was 37. And then Hasek was like 38. Seth, is that right? Or
I don't have the exact age, but that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, these
what
were
players?
players. They were aging veterans, but they could still contribute, and especially on a cup winner.
Yeah.
Hasek was 36.
Well, Hasek was 36 at the time.
I don't know what the other players you were, because I didn't hear the other players.
No, my overall point, it was a crazy move. Like it's insane that it worked out the way it did. Like I don't know. It's like I think the offseason before when they lost in the first round was like, yeah, it's time to tear it apart, guys. You're too old now. Then you just get older, bring in even older. And even Larry Onoff was 40 years old at the time they won that Stanley Cup.
He was 40. Chelios was 39. Brett Hull was 37. I mean, you had a lot of people that were, old.
It worked, and it's crazy that it worked. It almost felt like it shouldn't have worked, but it totally.
I remember at the time that we were wondering why they were signing all these old people, even though they were good. Were they past their prime? That was one of the question marks that we had that year going in.
Yeah, even if they were past their prime, they were like everyone said, they were still very key contributors. Hull was man, I wish I remember all the stuff I said in that last video I made, but Hull was a key contributor. Like they were all like top 5 on the Red Wings in points, assists, or goals, or multiple categories. They all
you forget though that even Yzerman that year was 36.
Yeah,
he was old. Robitaille was 35.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of players that, for me, it was kind of weird that at the beginning, I remember that year in the beginning, a lot of fans were like, oh my gosh, they're signing all these old players and a 36-year-old goaltender and all this other stuff. And it ended up working out. It ended up being all those moves, those guys played at a level like they were 28 or something like this. You know what I'm saying? Most of them. Hull, for sure.
No, for sure. No, that's absolutely what happened. It was just incredible.
They're playing like they were in their prime. Do you remember that, Seth? Do you remember before the season started, we were just getting ready to kick off and stuff, and then we had traded for a lot of these older guys, and a lot of people didn't like it. Do you remember that or no?
Actually, I kind of vaguely remember that. A lot of people, some people thinking that was a bad move by the Wings, trying to go all in with all the old guys. But I just had an unshakable confidence because I knew that the Wings were still Cup contenders, and had it been to where they were still, had they faded a little bit more to where they weren't able to win their division, and we're like maybe a 4th or 5th seed every year like they were by maybe 2011 and 12, then I would have questioned it. But at this point, I didn't question it at all. I had unshakable confidence. Like you said, Jim, I saw them as being like the New York Yankees of hockey, going all in, winning the Cup. I figured they'd be just fine. I was just excited, stoked. So I guess it was the fan in me. I wasn't really thinking like a GM. I was a total, complete fan. Like I said, Robitaille had been one of my favorite non-Red Wings Hull too. So I was just excited.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I love my Red Wings. I'm going to tell you this. I love hockey. I've been watching hockey for a very long time. And the thing is, the Wings hold a special place in my heart because they were the dead things and they were terrible for so long. And then all of a sudden, we got Steve Yzerman. And actually, when that happened, things started to change. We started to become better, not just, we were the Lions. We really were. And people don't remember this, but we were. And that Cup victory, in those years and getting there, it's just amazing to me where they had come from and then what they turned into. I mean, you consider the Red Wings a dynasty in those days,
Yeah.
But sure. Now it's like the Lions have, at least they can't even see that, but the Red Wings were that team. What do you think about the Red Wings as they stand right now versus what they used to be in the jump that they made? What do you think about that, Seth?
Well, you know what? This is kind of like a really good question because I guess during that time period, when they were winning cups, I dreaded the day that they would become a bad team again. I knew the day would eventually come, but I dreaded that day. Even to I would say maybe 2012 or even a little few years later when they were just trying to preserve the streak, I dreaded the streak coming to an end. I was like, no, please don't let the streak end. Because as long as I had been a real legitimate hockey fan, the Wings had always been a playoff team. Because I had only really gotten into the NHL watching hockey, watching the Red Wings in 1993, which by that time they were an offensive juggernaut. So, but then the 2016 offseason came and they signed Franz Nielsen for 6 years and then gave Helm a 5-year deal. I was like, oh my gosh. I knew the writing was on the wall right then and there. And from that point on, I was at peace. I knew the streak was going to end, and I was at peace with it,
Yeah. You can call me Funk, says I remember Melrose on the Wings. That was a bad time. It led to Stevie Yzerman. That's true. Yeah. And we are simulcasting. So we are on YouTube and we're also in Facebook. And Lisa Wozni said, hockey is my favorite sport to watch. We really appreciate you joining us too. You can call me Funk. Thanks for joining us today and this afternoon to talk a little bit of Red Wings hockey. PD, what do you think about that? You see the team now. I don't know if you remember when they were the Dead Things or a terrible team. What are your thoughts about your Red Wings franchise?
Wait, so you're asking just my thoughts on the Red Wings as a whole, or the?
Yeah, as a whole, as the whole history of the Red Wings.
Dude, the whole history of the Red Wings is freaking amazing. I don't know how I could come to any other conclusion if I gotta be honest. No, but I mean, I don't even think I was alive during the time when they were like just gutter trash, hot garbage. Whatever you want to throw on there.
They were bad. They were the Dead Things for a while.
And
no,
I wasn't alive for that portion of the terribleness. But like, I mean, every franchise goes through rough patches. It happens in all sports. Like the Patriots weren't. I'm gonna switch sports kind of second. Like the Patriots weren't always the Patriots. I don't think a lot of people realize how absolutely garbage the Patriots were at one point. I don't think a lot of people realize how absolute garbage the Pittsburgh Steelers were at one point. And then they were now they're like a model franchise. No, like
they were pretty good in the 70s too with
the
Steel
Kurt. They were good in the 70s, dude. Before the 70s, the Steelers were as trash as you can imagine. You know what I'm saying? But like it's a rough patch, and the Red Wings are currently in a rough patch right now. But it's what every franchise goes through. It happens.
Don't you feel different about the Lions franchise than you do the Red Wings, because the Red Wings have been there? They've shown that they can do it, so you have some sort of confidence that they can.
Yeah, well, that's fun because I don't think the Lions. This is hilarious. I don't think the Lions are a bad franchise. If you look at the Lions' overall history, it's not bad. The Lions' overall history is good. Their recent history is bad. Like the Red Wings' overall hit in terms of the Red Wings, their overall history is good, but their recent even the recent history is pretty good if we got to be honest. But like,
all right.
I don't know what I'm getting at, honestly.
That's all right. That's all right. I was going to get onto this question because it's personal for me. So, thoughts on the commissioner, Gary Bettman. I'm going to start with you, PD, because I think you'll probably be okay with this. And we'll. No, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to think.
But you might want. I want to let you or Seth go first, honestly, because I might have an unpopular take.
Oh, no, that's why I want you to go first.
All right.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
So, what do I think? I'm more or less indifferent about Gary Bettman, honestly. Here's the only thing. I think he's a punching rod. I think he's a punching bag and a punching rod or a lightning rod.
I wish he was. Oh.
No, he is. Like, I feel like he gets blamed for what the owners want. Like, I think he works for the owners. The owners don't necessarily work for him. He tries to get what the owners want. And has he gotten what the owners want? Yeah, he's gotten the money. That's what the owners want. When Bettman took over, the NHL was at a net worth of $400 million, and now he got it up to I think in 2018, the NHL had a net worth of $4.54 billion. He's gotten some TV deals. I guess my overall point is he's done a good job for the people he works for. Whether I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. That could be a bad thing, but
I'm going to go next because I just can't hold back anymore when you're done. I'm going to go next.
No, but I can't. I think he gets blamed for what the owners want. I feel like the owners probably deserve the hatred for what Bettman does, honestly.
Jim, can I please go next? Because it sounds like you're going to go completely Vince. So I figure I would probably be a nice buffer between
yeah, you know me pretty well. Yeah, go ahead, Seth.
Okay. I believe he's going to have a very complicated legacy. Now, I do believe that he's done a fair job of expanding the visibility of the game and, expanding it to non-traditional hockey markets. Some will say that's at the expense of traditional hockey markets and, Canadian teams killing the sport in Canada. Valid point, but I'm not going to, harp too much on that. And a lot of purists didn't like how he changed the names of the divisions and conferences. Again, I'm not going to harp on that because for lukewarm fans who may not be familiar with the history, they might have gotten confused as to, the original names. Like, why the hell is it the Campbell Conference or the Norris Division? A lot of people probably would have been confused to that. So he catered more to the lukewarm casual fans. So I don't really blame him for that. But the thing that I criticize him about is, yes, he does work for the owners, as does every commissioner. But I felt like he was completely the owner's puppet to the point to where he was absolutely trying to stick it to the players, because I feel like the mark of a good commissioner is being able to ensure labor peace for as long and as much as possible. And he has had 3 lockouts, whereas Roger Goodell, say all you want about him about being too much of a disciplinarian or this thing or that thing, but you had the sense that during the 2011 lockout, even though it lasted the whole off season, even though he was speaking on behalf of the owners, you got the sense that he was still concerned with getting a deal done so that we would have football. You never got that sense with Bettman. It's like, get what the owners want at all cost. So it's just because of that, I give him a failing grade in that area.
I actually like that point you made about he's a little too much of a puppet for the owners. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Okay, so here's my take, and I am an older hockey player, so I like the older style of hockey. I think that if he works for the owners, great, but I think he single-handedly, I really do. I think he's to blame for the destruction of hockey as I know it. I absolutely hate the guy. I think that he is hopefully should be remembered for destroying what I called hockey back in the 80s and 90s. I do not at all think that it was somebody else. He did not like the fighting in hockey, so he made strict measures to try to take that out, which was one of the most exciting parts of the game. And it was an interesting part of the game because people would be policing, right, themselves instead of the referees can screw this one or that one. No. I hate what he's done to hockey. Absolutely hate it. It's become ballet on ice. It caters more to the European style, which is great because you expanded the markets and you got the money, but yet you really took away from the game itself, from some of the inside moves of the game, some of the roster moves you'd have to make because you had to keep an enforcer on the team. Those days are gone because it's like, like I said, it's figure skating now, with a stick. It's not what it used to be at all. And I miss it. It got so bad, ESPN dropped hockey. They dropped the Stanley Cup playoffs. It was one of their biggest draws. And Gary Bettman's responsible for that. Gary Bettman's responsible for the fact that now it's coming back now. It's coming back now. Okay. So there's people covering it now, but there was a long period of time where they absolutely weren't covered. The NHL playoffs was an event before Gary Bettman. Now it got dropped by its number one provider to us, the people, ESPN. Not that they had graphics and all these things that were going down, and they had every series was, oh my gosh, this team's going to play that team. Boy, by game 3, something's going to happen. And you always didn't know what. Like the Colorado Avalanche versus the Detroit Red Wings will never happen now. Never. You can't get that deep of a rivalry anymore without anybody being personally invested in that. I'm not saying our players aren't, but a lot of the cheap shots to our younger players and our players that, we can't do anything about that anymore. Got to rely on the ref now. Whereas before you had to enforce, we had Bob Probert. You screwed with Steve Yzerman, right? You had some people to answer to. And ask Claude Lemieux. You would not like that answer.
Yeah. Wasn't Bob Probert not on the team at that point?
I don't remember. I know he was one of our enforcers for a long time. Joey Koser was, and we had people on our team that could handle themselves. Darren McCarty could fight, and it was an aspect of the game that was more of a psychological piece to the game, more of a piece to the puzzle. Hockey was a little different because you've seen so many other things happening on the ice that now you don't see that anymore. You got to watch a couple players if they're starting to get chippy with each other, because there could be a fight. People running people into the boards and the good old days of dropping the gloves and not smiling at each other when you're, some of the big heavyweights. Oh, Stu Grimson, you could call me Funk. I love you, buddy. I still have a blood fight Probert shirt and a Bruise Brothers shirt that's autographed by both Bob and Joe. But he said Bob Probert and Joey Koser, I would assume. And he brought up Stu Grimson, who I loved. Oh my God, one of my favorite fighters, Stu Grimson. But
the coolest nickname too, Grim Reaper.
The Grim Reaper. Yep, the Grim Reaper, Stu Grimson. You guys, and maybe PD, you missed that part of hockey because, before there was so much stuff going on the ice that you had to pay attention to outside of the actual play. And it was so much fun, it was so much fun to see all that stuff in hockey, the way it was meant to be played in North America. Now in Europe, it's played totally different. That's fine. I don't mind that. We got the Russian 5. That was good too. But even Konstantinov, before he got hurt, was rough. He could fight. He could hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was McCarty that got Claude. Yeah, it was. Yeah, in that brawl with the Colorado Avalanche. Man, look that up if you haven't seen that. It's amazing. To a lot of our young fans out there that don't know, you can call me Funk. Must have seen it, I swear, because he's all excited today. I'm excited today. I hate Gary Bettman. I wish he never would have became commissioner of the NHL. I think he's done nothing but destroy it. I really do. And the popularity of hockey went from, I would say, 2 to 3 in now there are probably events like tennis that's more exciting to people than hockey now. Hockey has dropped big time. It used to be 4 major sports, right? And hockey was one of them. And now people consider hockey a second-class citizen. And I seriously think that since Bettman's got here. And I guess my rant is over. What do you guys think about what I said, guys?
Oh, I mean, I get it. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at anybody's takes, honestly, because I have such an indifferent feeling towards Bettman. I don't know. I guess the only pushback I give is like, dude, the AHL has a net worth of this was in 2018, I think, of $4.5 billion, dude. That's like
they're getting back up there, but where's their coverage?
Oh, that is true. I agree. The coverage.
It was the NHL Stanley Cup was one of the biggest draws ESPN had. It really was. There was a big event every time it came up. The Stanley Cup Finals, big event. It's not as popular as it used to be. I live in the northern states, so I live in Michigan. You live in Michigan. And hockey's really popular up here. Okay, that's not everywhere. But you know what I'm saying. Oh, you can call me Funk. Vladdy was one of my favorite players of all time. Mine too. Career cut way too short, and tragic accident. It was horrible to hear what happened to him and stuff. And it still bothers me to this day. I would love to have seen what would have happened with Konstantinov and what kind of a career that man would have had. I think he would have been something special. I really do.
You know, Jim.
Oh, go ahead, Seth.
You know, Jim. I know my view on Bettman's a little more diplomatic, but you brought up some excellent points. I loved when the NHL was on ESPN during that time. I was a teenager, and the NHL on ESPN was must-watch TV. Even though I felt like even though they didn't show the Red Wings enough, I felt that they were very pro Avalanche, Rangers.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Flyers.
It's this way now.
It's like they were forced to give the Red Wings their due when they did good. But I loved NHL on ESPN during that time, and that was just a special time to be a hockey fan with the Enforcers, like you said. Konstantinov was a menace, and he was very skilled. I actually got to beat him at Costco a few years back.
Oh, wow.
Still a very proud man. Very nice, firm handshake. So and a very proud man. So
that's good. Like I said, it was tragic what happened. And it's a bad thing because when you lose your career like that, it's just it hurts. It hurts. Yeah, ESPN2 always had a game on always. Yeah, they did. I mean, it was always on, and it was heavily promoted, and it was an event. The way the graphics were, the way that it was like the World Series and stuff. I'm not kidding. It was a huge thing for them, and they promoted it very heavily. And I think ESPN was one of the reasons hockey got so popular when I was younger.
I actually agree with you, right? I actually can agree with you right there. The ESPN graphics were made and that theme song before every dude, that's like my favorite entry song. I don't even thought that's like my favorite entry song of any sport ever. That ESPN, the NHL on ESPN song, that's like one of my favorites ever, and it just got you going.
It did, and those were the glory days. Those days are gone forever now, and that is the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But I do want to go to the next question. I love this topic, by the way. I really do, because it brings out a lot of the passion and the, just the passion in our panel. I like that. All right. So I'm going to go to the next question, and that is who was your favorite Red Wing player, non-Red Wing player of all time?
Who are we starting with?
I'm going to go with Seth on this one.
Non-Red Wing player favorite of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably be a toss-up between Gretzky and Lemieux. Again, I know, Jim, you like the Enforcers. I tend to prefer the skilled players. Even though I do like the Enforcers, for an Enforcer, it would probably be Ty Domi. But in terms of overall, it would be either Gretzky or Lemieux.
I have a whole different take on this. I'm going to tell you who my favorite non-Red Wing of all time is, and probably I would say 99% of you have never heard of the guy. His name is Billy Smith. He was a goaltender for the New York Islanders back in the 70s, probably early 80s. This dude was, he was nuts, absolutely crazy. I don't think I even liked him because he was a good goalie. I liked him because he went behind the ring and took a two-hander with his goalie stick over Gretzky's back one time. I like Gretzky. Gretzky was one of my favorite players too. But I just love the tenacity that, if you got in that guy's crease, you were going to get crotched. And I hope people know what that means, because I don't know if I want to explain it to the public here, but no, you were going to get hit with a stick. He was going to punch you in the face with his glove. It was insane. It was so much fun to watch because you just never knew what he was going to do. He was that crazy. And yep, I'm off the wall. I love stuff like that. I love players with flair and, players with some flamboyance. You know what I'm saying? Something that sets them apart, you know? And I liked him. I liked Dino Cicerelli because he was just an antagonist. He just got in your grill, but he wouldn't fight. He would just get you to take a penalty. He was a master manipulator, and he was a master of the mental game of hockey. And there is such a thing when you're out there. So you can call me Funk, says JR, Jeremy Roenick. Oh my gosh, what a good player. Most of his career in Chicago. Matt Sundin, he was in Toronto. I like Matt Sundin. I don't think he's one of my favorite players, but yeah, I can see that. PD, who's your favorite non-Red Wing of all time?
Oh, dude. I ain't gonna lie. I don't really I care about my team the most. I don't really know if I have players that I would really love over other teams, but I'm gonna take an unpopular approach. But let me put a disclaimer. F the team that I'm about. F the team of this player, but he did one of the coolest things, honestly, in the history of sports. When Joe Sakic handed that cup to Ray Bourque, bro, that was –
yeah.
Like I said, F the team.
Yep.
Bro, that was like – I'm not kidding. Like, that is like the coolest moment in the history of sports, seeing Bourque being able to lift the cup after 22 freaking seasons.
Yep.
He was a legend. I don't know if a lot of you people know, but Ray Bourque was a legend.
He was a Boston Bruin for years and didn't get a cup there, and then finally got one with the Avs. And as much as I hate the Avalanche, I actually really love that moment that you're talking about.
No, that moment was amazing. Oh, hey, Real and stuff, but no, I guess the other guy. Some of these players, I don't even care that I never even got to see him play. I still consider them favorite. Ray Bourque is definitely one of my favorites. You know, that moment was just so cool, man. That moment is like a speechless. You know what? A guy that gives you some the guy that brings a little bit of that old school hockey back is Brad Marchand, dude.
Yeah,
I like that guy. I love that guy. It's so funny, like. All the stuff that he gets accused of today, it would probably be like nothing.
He's like a Dino Cicerelli type to me.
Like it would be pretty much nothing. Like it wouldn't even be talked about really. It's just like, oh, it's hockey. If Marchand did this stuff.
Yeah, Marchand, that would have been nothing in the day.
No, but I just think of dude, like when the Bruins went to the crowd in that one game and he rips the guy's shoe off and hit him with it. I don't think a lot of people realize, dude. The suspensions were one player got 8 games and the other players got 6 games, and they were all fined $500 a piece.
Man, that's amazing. I do have this on the Facebook as well, and Kathy has joined us. And hi, Kathy. Just wanted to mention you on the show. Also, in our chat, here we go, is oh God, man, you can call me Funk's on fire today, man. Okay, that's gonna laugh so hard because I got family in Boston. You know, Boston, and they've been okay. I mean, over the years and stuff like that. I've hated playing them, to be quite honest about it. Lately,
dude, we get dubs against Boston, man.
Yeah,
dubs against Boston.
Yeah. No love right now. I'll tell you that. So, I mean, anybody else come to mind when it comes to favorite players that are not on the Red Wings team?
Oh,
because we're going to go to the next question. I've already put it up, but I just want to make sure.
I would say Lindros and Yager.
Yeah, I like Lindros just because he got such a raw deal, I thought. And Yager, yeah, he was good too. I think mine would be Mark Messier. Kind of underrated, but boy, when that team in Edmonton was one of my favorite teams to watch. With Gretzky, Messier, Fiore, Coffey, you know, all those guys, just such an outstanding team. They actually had to make that 4-on-4 rule for when you got offsetting penalties because of that team, or you had to play with 5 or something. I can't remember because there was too much ice for Edmonton, and so they had to go ahead and do that. I thought it was really funny, to be honest. They had to make rules against the team. You know how good that team really was then. So that's mine. Okay. No, the Rat would have been the league in the 80s. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Real? Thanks for stopping in. Okay, what do you think is the most influential trade in Red Wings history? Go ahead, PD.
Honestly, a lot of us might go with Shanahan. I'm going to go with the Larionov trade. I mean, I remember watching the Russian 5, and they were like, you're going to give up Ray Shepard for a 36-year-old Larionov? Like, yeah, we're going to do it. I like that. That was a huge trade. We won the most games that year. I think we set a record for most wins in a season. And it was a huge trade. It was the first – it was the start of – that was like one of the last necessary pieces to get the Red Wings over the top. And then the Shanahan trade was also huge, but like that Larionov trade was like one of the biggest steps to making everything happen and making everything work out the way it needed to work out, I guess.
All right. I'm going to go to the resident historian here, Seth. What do you think was the most influential trade the Red Wings have ever made?
Well, the Larionov trade I would definitely give honorable mention to, but I would go with the Shanahan trade because, well, I remember during that time, Shanahan was considered the missing link between the Red Wings and the Stanley Cup. And that pretty much played out that way that season. He helped give the team more toughness, more physicality. Of course, there are other things that went into that, like McCarty playing more, Koser joining the team, Maltby playing more. But to see him join the team, he had been another one of my favorite non-Red Wings up to that point. Yes, we gave up Coffey, a player I loved, but I didn't like Primo, so I didn't miss him. But to get Shanahan and to see how he gelled with Yzerman, provided a different method of leadership, which complemented Yzerman very well, because Yzerman was the lead by example guy, and Shanahan was more vocal. They complemented each other so well, and just had such an impact on the ice with his physicality and his scoring ability. He was the total package.
Yep, he was. And I like that trade. I'm going to go to a different one, though. And I don't know. The guy helped our defense quite a bit. I'm going to 1999, and I'm going to Chris Chelios for Anders Eriksson and a first-round draft pick. What do you think about that, guys?
I think that's a great one. We gave up the half. We gave up. Do you agree or disagree? I think we gave up kind of a lot to get Chelios, but we hella won that trade.
I think we won that trade. The reason is because, and what people don't realize, Chris Chelios was like a captain of the blue line. He brought so much to this team. He brought grit. He brought the same thing Dino Ciccarelli did too. He was an antagonist. He was somebody that would help you to get penalties, to get power plays. He was just a really good player, really good defenseman. Really good puck stick handler. Underrated to me. But Chelios is one of the greatest of all time. We get one of the greatest of all time for Anders Eriksson and a first round pick.
Yeah, no, he played a huge role in us winning the Stanley Cup in 2002. Also,
yep.
So many players that contributed.
I like this from You Can Call Me Funk. Shanahan's first shift, he fought someone who took a run at Stevie. He said maybe his second shift. Yeah, see? And Shanahan brought that goal scoring, but he also brought that toughness. He was a tough Irishman. You know what I'm saying? He really was. And the thing is we needed that on that line with Yzerman because, he had went through a lot of he was going to go through a lot of knee injuries and knee problems at the time. So, I think it was an excellent trade. I do like the Chelios trade a little bit better, but that's just me. What do you think about that, Seth?
The Chelios trade was definitely a great one. If you look back at it, do you even remember hearing about Eriksson afterwards? I didn't.
No.
And the first round pick would have been a late first round pick anyway, so probably wouldn't have been a star anyway. So the Wings definitely won that trade big time.
Definitely. But it's just one of them I thought of.
Ken Holland was good at he gave up a lot in a lot of trades. Like these trades where he gave up a lot, he still won them. Like we was giving up multiple firsts and stuff. He still came out of all these trades as the overall winner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And he was good. People don't understand that about Kenny Holland, that he was really, really good before this salary cap era. And afterwards, he just didn't really change as fast or as quickly as he should have. And I think it really hurt him. I think it hurt him, the fact that the hard cap came into play, and that I really do. That's what his downfall, that's when it started to me. Okay, this one I really want. I want to tackle this one, so I'm going first because that's what I'm going to do. Who's your most hated player on a rival team? And I don't think there's any question about this one. I'm going with Claude Lemieux, Colorado Avalanche, and I'll tell you this much: when he put Draper's face into the boards, it broke his jaw, because he was a dirty player anyway. And he would do all kinds of crap to our players and stuff like this. And he finally got his in that brawl where Darren McCarty just pounded on him when he turtled like a little coward that he is. Oh, sorry. I can't help it.
Yeah, it's all good.
There's so much hate for this dude. So, I absolutely hated his antics. He was a total coward to me. That's what I felt like anyway. And, yes, my most hated player of all time, Claude Lemieux. How about you, PD?
Yeah, I think I don't even care that I was too young to remember the stuff that happened during the 1997-98 Stanley Cup Finals run, or when the Red Wings were beating the Russian Five and stuff. But no, it can't be anyone else but Claude Lemieux. Like, you watch that, dude, it's brutal. That is, man.
Oh, hey, hold on just a second. You can call me Funk says, I think I hated Waugh more. Patrick Waugh, the goaltender from the Colorado Avalanche at the time. Oh, my God, I hated him too. Him and Ron Hextall from, I think he was Philly at the time. But yeah, because Ron Hextall used to play in the IHL with the Kalamazoo Wings. And so we hated him from Muskegon for a long period of time before he got to the NHL. So I think I hated Waugh more. Oh, wow. I don't know. I hated Claude Lemieux. I hated the arrogance of Patrick Waugh. I did. I loved it when we scored 7 goals in that one game against him.
That was beautiful.
It was amazing. It's good when you love to hate players like that, because of the fact that when they get their due, it's almost like, I hate to say this, but it's almost like pro wrestling. You know, they kind of craft that stuff to happen, but you know, when the bad guy gets his, it's so much more exhilarating and so much more fun than just a normal fight or a normal thing that happens. Or if you score 7 goals on Hasek or somebody who you didn't hate, Hextall was dirty. Wasn't he a little dirty? I don't know. I try not to swear on the show too much, but
yeah.
But sure. Okay. Did I go to anyone else on this so far?
Seth needs to go.
Seth. Give me your most hated player.
Real quick, it's interesting you mentioned Hextall. I saw more of his antics from the 80s, I think in 89 during the conference finals against, was it the Canadians, I think? He got into a big scrap with Chelios and a whole bunch of other guys. But in terms of my least favorite, I would have to agree with you, Jim, Claude Lemieux. Waugh is a close second because he was just so cocky, and that was even before he got to Colorado. But it would definitely have to be Claude Lemieux because he was just such a big thorn on the Red Wings side. First with New Jersey in 95, he stuck it to the Wings in Game 1 and then won the Conn Smythe when the Devils won the Cup. That's one of my least favorite teams because, why do you have to call them the Devils? And then,
yeah, there you go.
So then he ends up on Colorado the very next year. They beat the Red Wings, so I end up disliking him even more. And then he does that dirty hit to Draper, so that was like the icing on the cake. And I just had it,
I think Funky is talking about Patrick Waugh, PD.
No, I know what he's talking about. No, he said the game that ended his career in Montreal was such a great game in history. And I said, for sure.
Oh, I thought you said you sure. Okay. That's my fault. There. Man, most hated player. Patrick Waugh is really close. Ron Hextall is pretty close for me too. The only thing, because Ron Hextall was in the IHL and we faced him so many times with all his dirty stuff that he used to do. Then he comes to the NHL and I hated him then too. I guess it was a personal thing, because I watched him a lot more than you guys had to.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, this next question, I'm curious to see what You Can Call Me Funk is going to say on this one. So, what's that? I'm going to get that up there in a minute. PD, what do you think about the career of Patrick Waugh?
Ooh, what do I think about the career of Patrick Waugh? I mean, he was a good goaltender. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about him. I'm not going to speak nicely. I don't care that I was too young to remember all the stuff that went on between these teams. I still watch the videos and stuff like that. Like, I watch the brawl from time to time. But, like, I'm just going to say he was a good goalie. Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to double check real fast. I don't see why he wouldn't be, but good.
Yeah, probably is.
He's in the Hall of Fame, but he was a good goalie, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about him. I'm not going to say too many nice things about.
No, I hated him. I mean, I didn't like Waugh. Yeah, I didn't like Waugh at all. What do you think, Seth?
Like him doesn't mean I can't. Just because if I don't like him, I have to still say he's a good player. Like, I hate Aaron.
He gave up 7 goals to the Red Wings. I think it was 3 to McCarty that night. Nah, not a good guy. I don't care. So what do you think about Patrick Waugh's career, Seth?
He was definitely a Hall of Famer, but I never liked him. Like I said, even when he was in Montreal, I didn't like him. Never did. The arrogance that he had rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm sure had he been a Red Wing, his swagger would have been the one thing that I would have loved. Like when Jim Schwartz was the Lions coach, we loved his swagger.
We're gonna go with this next question. I'm wondering what You Can Call Me Funk is gonna say on this one. So I'm paying attention. What is the most underrated Red Wing of all time, or Red Wings of all time? You can have more than one. For me, I think he's not really underrated though. This is why this is such a hard question. I think I'm going to say Chris Draper. He was on the grind line, and yeah, the grind line got some shine though. I'm not going to even lie, but the thing is, it's like, I think he was underrated for all the stuff that he did for the Red Wings and the Red Wings organization. What do you got there, PD?
No, I agree. Like, he's a Selke winner. He's two-way forward. Just everything you want in a hockey player. But one player I don't feel that we talk enough when it comes to Red Wings history is Norm Ullman. He led the team to multiple Stanley Cup Finals appearances. Granted, they didn't win any of them. I think that's part of why he gets a little underrated, because he was never able to lead the team to a Stanley Cup win. But he was a great player, led the team in points, getting his team to the Stanley Cup Finals, led his team in goals, did all that good stuff. Like, I just feel like we don't talk when we talk about Red Wing greats. We always talk about Howe, Yzerman, Delvecchio. You know what I'm saying? Like, and deservedly,
Lidstrom.
Sawchuk, Lidstrom, Shanahan, Fedorov. Like, we talk about them so much, and don't get me wrong, 100% deservingly so. But I just feel like a player like Ullman might not always get the respect that might not always get brought up enough when we talk about the great players we've had in our franchise.
I have a question here, and it comes from my Facebook group. And so You Can Call Me Funk says that whole line. Boy, are you right? Boy, are you right on that? It was a line that was put together to basically play defense and just irritate the other teams, and it turned into something that was shutting down first lines of other teams and called the grind line and all this stuff. And I thought it was absolutely wonderful. I don't want to go away from our question first, but I want to get this question in real quick. I'm going to answer it really fast. Is Jenny Gratian, and she says, I love my Wings, but they definitely need a new goalie, and have been for a few years now. Howard is not good at all. And I want to address this because the Red Wings right now are in a rebuild. So Jimmy Howard, while he is, I don't even think he's under contract at this point, but Jimmy Howard is a placeholder, just like Jeff Blashill is, in my opinion. And so I think that our goaltenders of the future is either in our organization right now, or we're going to trade for a young goaltender, an up and coming goaltender, as we do this rebuild. And I think we're going to have one that can grow with the team. If that rebuild goes a little faster, I think we'll trade for a goalie that's ready to win now. Jimmy Howard is not our goaltender of the future whatsoever. No, I think his time is done here. And I think that the goaltending right now is awful. It is. Bernier's okay, just okay. Howard is at the end of his career. He was okay, but I don't think he was ever great, in my opinion. There were times he stood on his head, and there's other times he lets that goal go by that you're like, what? That type of thing. And I don't know. So
that's a good choice. Everybody, you can call me Funk.
What do you say?
Oh, that's a good choice by you can call me Funk.
What choice?
For the most underrated Red Wings of all time that don't get talked about enough.
Okay, who did he say? Because I don't have that on my feed. Oh, yeah, Steve Chason is one of the guys. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He was good, too. I don't know what the heck they did with him. I don't know. But JMO says our goalies, yeah, they do. They've sucked for a while now, and we really need to change that. I think we will as this goes on. But we never got to Seth on this question. Who is your most underrated Red Wing of all time?
Okay, Jim, to answer your question, I think Chason was traded to Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
As part of the Mike Vernon trade, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
For who I think is the most underrated Red Wing of all time, that is very tough. This may sound crazy, but I would say Vladdy, believe it or not. Now I know, but a lot of people say yes, he, was a great defenseman, but I felt like people really didn't understand how skilled he was because he was just so tough and physical. Mm-hmm. So I think that part of that game got overshadowed because of that. And then, of course, just like with Lidstrom for a while, they were both, in my opinion, overshadowed by Coffey until he left.
Mm. Yep. Oh, wow. He traded him to Calgary, then he died in a car accident. Oh, that's awful. I didn't even know that. And I know a lot about hockey, but I didn't know that. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, but thank you. All right, guys. Let's see. What do we got going on?
Situation really fast because it got addressed a little bit in the chat.
Go ahead.
Our goalies are placeholders. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know if that sounds negative. I don't know what it sounds like, but our current goaltending situation, it's all placeholding. There's no until we'll get a franchise goalie eventually, but Bernier or Howard's not necessarily a great placeholder, but Bernier is a fine placeholder for now. I think Bernier is okay, honestly. I am okay with rocking with Bernier into next year, 100%. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I'm 100% okay with rocking with Bernier for a second longer until we get a real franchise goaltender. That's all our goalies are right now. They're placeholders. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it even really that much right now. But, yeah.
Okay. That's a good take, and that's the same thing I say, too, is that, this is a rebuild, guys, and that's what we're – it's not like the Lions, like we were going to rebuild, and then they say, we're 9-7, it's good enough, and now we're rebuilding, and now – JMO says then get better placeholders.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, we're not going to be good this next year probably, and that's and it sucks. I agree, it sucks, but we're just probably not going to be that good this next coming up year. Okay, and that's why we don't care about the goaltending situation. I think it's almost like a tanking situation, but I can't say that for sure, but you know what I mean. It kind of seems like a tanking situation to me. So we have run out of questions for today, which is okay with me. I'm fine with that. Now it's your turn to have a question, any question you want for the panel. Should be Red Wings related, hopefully. So we'll wait a little while and we'll see what you come up with, and then we'll start answering questions. I'm monitoring the Facebook group as well, and my Facebook to see if there's going to be stuff there. So if you want to put a question out there, just put it in the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube and if you're watching on Facebook, just put it in our live chat and we will answer them for you in the live chat. We went over the one with the goaltending situation about Jimmy Howard. I do not believe Jimmy Howard's even under contract right now. I don't think he is anyway after this year.
I think we talked about it last week, or I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but like we were talking about what players we should bring back. We might bring Howard back for the sole purpose of exposing him, honestly, in the expansion draft. Like that's a possibility.
Could be. All right. It's your turn. Like I said, your turn. Yeah, Stevie will get it figured out. And this is what I think too. I don't think that it's going to be overnight. Okay, here we go. Where do you rank Datsuk all time on the Red Wings? Where do you rank Osgood for goalies? Wow, that's a good question, JMO. Good question. Datsuk was amazing. They didn't call him the Magic Man for nothing. He's an underrated defender to me. I thought he played two-way hockey really well, like Sergei Fedorov did. But Datsuk, he was just a magician with the puck. How does he rate all time? I would have him. Wow, this is a tough question. Probably 4 or 5. Why do I say that? Gordie Howe has to be first. Steve Yzerman has to be second. And then you have Nick Lindstrom. What do you do with that? I make him third. I really like Datsuk, but I think he's top 5 for me, probably 5 in my opinion. What do you got on this? Oh, I didn't answer the Osgood one. So Osgood, you got Terry Sawchuk, you got Dominik Hasek. I think both were good goalies. Terry Sawchuk has to be first, so Osgood has to be at least 3rd or 4th to me. And everybody else can kill me for that, but yeah, that's what I think. So let's go to PD. What do you think on this question?
What do I think? Datsuk, I mean, I probably have him in the top 10 to 12. I know it might sound like blasphemy outside the top, but hear me out. Like, we have Terry Sawchuk, Lidstrom, Lindsay, Howe, Delvecchio, Abel, Yzerman, Shanahan.
Whatever that is, guys.
Fedorov, Ullman, a lot of great Red Wing players. And hey, you can even throw Zetterberg onto that list. I honestly see him more as a top 10 Red Wing of all time. I think when I do my full thing, it'll probably be like you'll probably rank in the 8 to 10 range when I actually officially come up with my list. But like, there's just so many great Red Wing players in our history. And for Osgood, man, that's a tough one. I mean, Sawchuk obviously has no choice but to be number 1.
Yep.
He probably is
I got Dom at number 2.
1, top 2 to 3.
Okay. Let's go to Seth on that question. What do you think about Datsuk all-time rating, and where do you rank Osgood?
For Datsuk, I would definitely rank him top 10 most likely. I'm not sure where exactly in the top 10, probably comparable to Fedorov, but obviously my top 3 would be Yzerman, Howe, and Lidstrom, not in that order, particularly. But
okay,
Datsuk would definitely be top 10 for me. Just where in the top 10, I'd have to figure that out. And then for Osgood, I would put him probably, believe it or not, number 2 behind Sawchuk, because Hasek was only with the Wings for a while. Had he been with the Wings more time, I'd put him up higher. But Ozzy spent most of his career with the Wings and had a lot of good years with the team. And then, of course, he won 2 cups with the team.
Okay. I'm hearing all kinds of dishes or something in the background there. So I just letting you know we're hearing all that. You can call me Funk. I like this question. Here's the question. It was, who is the most overrated Red Wing of all time? Holy cow, what a question. Wow. What do you think, Seth? Who was the most overrated?
Shit, overrated. Yikes. That's a really good one. When you look at the history of Red Wings, no one really jumps up to me in terms of overrated.
I've got
there have
one.
been a lot of players have been productive, and maybe some players underproduced. Like, I guess if I had to name someone, maybe Bernie Federico when we traded for him, because the thought was they had more left in the tank than he actually did. His one season with the Wings, he only had 52 points and retired. That was the Adam Oates trade, so maybe him.
Okay. Mine is Mike Modano, because when we picked him up, he was at the end of his career, but we expected so much more out of Mike Modano than what we got. So if you want to say overrated, this is difficult. I don't agree with Osgood, because I thought Osgood played pretty well, even though he did give up that goal that just made you go, what? He did. There were some goals that he let in that it drove me crazy. And then when he kind of really played horribly in the playoffs, and then Hasek had to relieve him, I actually agree with you on this, Funky, but it's tough. I thought he was a pretty good goaltender overall. So, all right. That's mine. Do you have one, PD, or did you get to go? I don't know. You kind of fell out there or something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I had a malfunction, technical difficulty.
It's okay.
Most overrated Red Wing of all time.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
and Funk asked the question, and he said his is Chris Osgood.
Man, that's tricky, man. That's even hard. That's like so much harder than the underrated one. Oh man, dude.
So what did
tricky
Seth? What'd you say, Seth?
Bernie Federico. We got him in a trade, and we expected him to do a lot. Mine was Mike Modano, because when we got him, I know he was at the end of his career, but we thought we would get a whole lot more out of him than what we did.
Man, that is such a tricky one, dude. That is. Dude, I don't know if I can come up with an answer, honestly.
Okay, that's all right. We're trying. He stumped the panel. You can call me Funk. Wins this week. I don't know what you win, but you win points, and they mean nothing. I'm just kidding. No, we appreciate your question. We appreciate you hanging out with us and everything. I think I'm going to close it down for now. We've been on for an hour and 12 minutes. I love talking hockey with my peeps in the chat and my Facebook group and my Facebook page. We appreciate you today. I appreciate everybody on the panel. Oh, wait. Here we go. Wait. All right, you can call me Funk. He didn't have to win a single game. He had such a good team in front of him. And that is the argument for goaltenders sometimes. How good is your team in front of you? But I mean, if you go back to Grant Fuhr and that Oiler team, right? You think Grant Fuhr was not a great goaltender, or do you think that the Oilers were just that good? So I can see what you're saying, though. I totally understand what you're saying.
Like, it's a tough balancing act for sure. Like, balancing, like, it's the same thing with quarterbacks. Separating the player from the team is, hey, even I still struggle with it. Separating the player from the team is one of the most tricky things in sports, honestly.
Yep, it really is. It is a difficult balancing act when you're talking about a goaltender and how many people that he, how good his team is in front of him. Does that make the goaltender, or did the goaltender make the teams? Yeah, Fuhr did give up 5 goals in a game. He certainly did. But I still thought he was a decent goaltender. I thought he was a really good goaltender, to be honest. I liked his backup more, though, if I remember. I don't even remember the guy's name anymore.
Andy Moog.
Huh?
Andy Moog.
Andy Moog. Yep. I remember him. I used to love that goaltender for some reason. I don't know why. I liked him better than Fuhr. But okay, I'm going to wrap things up this week. You can call me Funk. Thanks for joining us. 313 JMO was in the room with us too. We really appreciate you. We appreciate you guys on Facebook too. And it's Jenny Grashin has been on the show with us today. Let me see. Lisa Wozni, appreciate you being here. Stacy Rose, Heather Hargrove. Thank you all for showing us the love and helping us get this show off the ground. Really appreciate everybody who joined us, and I appreciate you guys on the panel for taking your time to impart the knowledge and wisdom that you guys have studied and learned over the years, especially with our resident historian here, Seth Walker. Appreciate you being on. Final thoughts today, Seth.
I'm very flattered with that title, the resident historian. It's been great joining you guys as always, and looking forward to doing it again. Thank you again, and you heard it from me, Seth Walker.
All right. Seth Walker, the resident historian here. All right, PD Sports. What is your final thoughts for this afternoon?
My final thoughts are thanks for coming in as always. I sound so cliche when I say that, but we really do appreciate it. We're going to continue to work hard. We're going to continue to try to grow this show as much as we humanly can. Also, with 313 JMO in the chat, Above the Rim will be on his channel at 6 p.m. Eastern. JMO, if you're still in the chat, correct me. But Above the Rim is going to be on his channel, so you're going to want to tune into that, obviously, and go from there. But this is a good show today, really good show today. We're going to keep trying to get better, like I said. And, yeah, and also, if you know any Tigers people, we want to try to get a Tigers show eventually even going. So if you know anybody that wants to talk some Tigers, there's JMO, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Above the Rim, 8 p.m. Eastern time on JMO's channel. And but back to the thing at hand. But if you know any Tigers people, or if you know anyone that wants to just talk Red Wings, we'd love to have you on. And, yeah, thank you all for coming in. We hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, my final thoughts for this afternoon is it's really good to have hockey back. Big hockey fan. Been a hockey fan since I was 6 years old, man. And I just, like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you that's joining us, that's on our panel and in the chat and in the Facebook groups and everywhere. We really appreciate you joining us. I just want to bring you this, it will happen. There will be a winner in Detroit again, and that will be the Detroit Red Wings. I trust in Steve Yzerman 100%. I believe he's going to get us back to where we used to be. And it's a tough job, guys, and it's going to take some time. So I just preach patience, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. And thanks, everybody, for joining us. And we are out.